Touchdown, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Rammer, jammer, yellow hammer, come see how we rock this. Alabama fans the best, there's no way you can top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
Welcome into The Process. I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine. You guys can check out The Process every Monday and Wednesday on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. So be sure to subscribe to Touchdown Alabama on YouTube. Stay updated on everything Alabama football recruiting with The Process and yours truly. On this episode of The Process, I wanted to take a look at Alabama's 2020 recruiting class and their verbal commitments and where their recruitment currently stands at this very moment. I know on a previous episode of The Process, I stated that I was going to use this episode to break down Alabama's upcoming official visitors, but due to the fact that four-star offensive lineman Marcus Henderson has backed off of his plans to officially visit Alabama this weekend, Alabama is only expected to host three-star defensive back Ennis Rickshaw Jr. out of Duncanville High School in Duncanville, Texas, as their only official visitor this weekend. So I wanted to use this episode of The Process instead to break down Alabama's current verbal commits and where their recruitment stand heading into the month of February in the traditional signing period. But before I dive deep into that, I do want to hit you guys with some recruitment updates. It looks as if Alabama has hired their new defensive line coach and Freddie Roach, a former Alabama defensive lineman, a former Alabama defensive player. So he should be able to bring that culture to Alabama. Something else to keep a note on as far as Alabama hiring Freddie Roach as a part of their staff for next season. Alabama's defensive lineman target McKinley Jackson, a four-star defensive tackle out of Mississippi, who Alabama did host for an unofficial visit this past weekend, has a great relationship with Freddie Roach, dating back to Roach's time at Ole Miss, so that could be something to keep an eye on. Alabama will also host a five-star defensive end, 2021 five-star defensive end / outside linebacker Dylan Brooks out of Hanley High School in Hanley, Alabama on this weekend. He did express to me that he will be in Tuscaloosa on the campus of the University of Alabama on this weekend, so that's another thing to keep an eye on. Alabama does have a junior day coming up on February 1st, and some of the top talent in the 2021 recruiting class is expected in Tuscaloosa on that particular day. But to get this show started today, I do have a recruiting question that I want to answer. So with that being said, let's get the process started. Now I'm going to go to my recruiting question. As always, you guys can call into The Process at 205-440-3968. Call into The Process, leave your recruiting question via voicemail, and it will be answered right here on The Process by yours truly.
Hey, Justin, how you doing, man? Hey, just want you to know, man, I enjoy your show. Hey, this is Lloyd out of Houston, Texas. Hey, I don't know whether this is a question or just a statement, but I've been hearing a lot about Matt Jones being the quarterback of Alabama. The only thing I've got to say is this. If you look at the Michigan game, Matt Jones, he couldn't pick up a third down, and that's usually where the game is won. I just don't see how he can beat Bryce Young out. You need a quarterback in this day and time, you need someone who can make plays when the play breaks down. And honestly, I don't see Matt Jones doing that. Also in the Michigan game, Patterson, he just missed a lot of open receivers. But if you go back and look at that game on third down, Matt Jones was horrendous. He may have picked up maybe 2 of 10 or 2 of 11. He was horrible on third down. And trust me, Matt is not taking Bama anywhere. I am here to tell you that right now. Not in this day and time, the way the game is played. You need a playmaker at quarterback. And Bryce Young is a playmaker. Now, I can't speak for Talia because I haven't watched him play enough. But I don't know why people are so hung up on Matt Jones. And in this day and time, you got to have a playmaker. And I don't see that in Matt. He cannot run my grandmother. You know, I don't understand it. But anyway, it was just more of a statement. But do you really think that Mac Jones will beat out Bryce Young, honestly? I don't see it happening, Justin. Anyway, man, thanks for taking the call. Enjoy your show, man. Keep up the great work. You know, I mean, I'm proud of you. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for the question. I always appreciate the support of anybody who is watching the show. But there's a lot to get into here. When you look at Mac Jones and you compare him to Bryce Young, there's no debate about Bryce Young being a more athletic player. If you line both guys up to do a 40-yard dash race, Bryce Young will most definitely win. He's not the athlete that Bryce Young is, and there's no question about that. But it's kind of hard and it's kind of difficult to see Nick Saban starting a true freshman on the very first game of the season. I feel that Bryce Young can come in and learn the offense more, but with Mac Jones showing this past season that he is capable of winning and being productive, I think it's kind of hard to see Bryce Young just coming in and stealing the quarterback job from him. I do think that Bryce Young has a chance, but I definitely think it's going to come down to, can he learn the offense? Will he master the offense, be able to take the offense to the next level? I think that Mac Jones is in a good position to be Alabama's starting quarterback on next season, and it's hard to not see that when you look at the way he knows the offense and shows that he can produce. The only way I see Bryce Young coming in and just taking the position from him, if he just outdoors him, outperforms him, knows the offense, showing that he's taking the offense to another level, and that is something that Bryce Young is capable of, but I think he definitely has to come in and shows that he's ready to take the reins. It's not going to be a thing where they're questioning about him. They have to be 100% certain they really can control this offense before they give the reins to Bryce Young. I do think that Bryce Young is a great athlete. I do see what you're saying, that he can really be another Tua Tagovailoa in a way, and just basically transcend Alabama's offense based off what he has done during the high school level at Mater Dei High School. And I believe Bryce Young can be that, but it's hard to just look over Mac Jones knowing the offense and being in the offense so long. He's been around Alabama. He knows the offense. He's mastered it. He knows all the tricks and everything about this offense that Steve Sarkisian has produced. So it's kind of hard seeing in that way. But I do believe Bryce Young can be a talented quarterback. He does have all of the tools to be that. But when you look at Tua Tagovailoa, I think he's the dark horse in this race because we don't know where he's at the moment. Like, we haven't really seen him play since he played in high school, basically. Alabama did not let him throw the ball. They did not really let him really show what he can do in Steve Sarkisian's offense this past season. So we really don't know how much Tua Tagovailoa has grown since he enrolled into the University of Alabama. So that is something to keep a note on as well, is that has Tua Tagovailoa really made that huge jump, or has it been a struggle for him? There's also Paul Tyson, a guy who was behind Tua Tagovailoa. How much has he grown? I know he's kind of an afterthought in this Alabama quarterback race, but how much has he grown this past season? It's a lot of questions surrounding. Thank you so much for the question. I do think it's Mac Jones' starting job to lose at this very moment, but it's based off he knows that offense, and I think Alabama's going to trust him more than Bryce Young. Basically just forecasting how things could play out. But if Bryce Young comes in, he's already enrolled to the University of Alabama, comes in, show that he's really ready to take command of this offense, showing that he's going to take this offense to the next level. I see no reason with Alabama, if they 100% trust him, start him at their starting quarterback on next season. The first Alabama verbal commit I want to talk about is 4-star defensive tackle Jamil Burroughs out of McEachern High School in Powder Springs, Georgia. Burroughs flipped his verbal commitment from Georgia to Alabama, and he has been solely locked in on the Tide. He said he has shut his recruitment down 100%, and he's only looking at Alabama, and I don't see any team flipping him from Alabama if Alabama chooses to go along and accepts his signature on National Signing Day, which I think they will, and I think Alabama will get Jamil Burroughs, and I think there's no doubt about that. He's one of those guys there's no really questions about his commitment status at the moment, but it is some questions surrounding some other guys such as Jayson Jones, the 4-star defensive tackle out of Calera High School in Calera, Alabama. Jayson Jones' recruitment is the more interesting recruitments when it comes to a guy that's verbally committed to Alabama. He has been verbally committed to Alabama for some time now. He is one of their longest standing commits in the 2020 recruiting class. But when you look at Jayson Jones, this is a guy who said his commitment to Alabama was not strong, but it was not weak. When I talked to him at the Under Armour All-America game in Orlando, Florida, he also expressed that he was looking at other options, as Baylor offered him late in this recruitment process, and they hosted him for an official visit this past weekend. Leading up to the early signing period, everyone always knew it was a Georgia Tech and Alabama battle. He always expressed that he was always looking at Georgia Tech, and he was always still verbally committed to Alabama. But it looks as if Oregon is sneaking up in the mix as they took a home visit to visit Jayson Elijah Jones recently. So that is something else to keep an eye on. We're looking at Jayson Elijah Jones, and I think that Alabama wants some more at the offensive lineman position. That's something that's also been discussed with this body frame fitting more of an offensive lineman in the trenches of the SEC. So it's a lot of things going on with Jayson Elijah Jones' recruitment. I think he really likes Alabama. I think his heart is Alabama. It's his home state school. I think he grew up an Alabama fan. I think he really likes Alabama, but it all comes down to if there's a mutual interest. I think there's questions on both sides. If Alabama wants him, I think they'll get him, but if they back off, I think Jayson Elijah Jones is already preparing for that, already visiting other schools, keeping Baylor on the table, keeping Oregon on the table, keeping Georgia Tech on the table. It's just a lot of things surrounding what Jayson Elijah Jones will do and where his recruitment currently stands. So there's another thing to keep a note on with Jayson Elijah Jones. A lot of questions surrounding his verbal commitment to Alabama at the moment. Javon Baker, Alabama's 4-star wide receiver, verbal commit, is another guy who Alabama is looking to sign on next month, heading into the traditional signing period. He's one of Alabama's longest standing commits as well. He's a very physical wide receiver, as I said on many occasions. He posted to Twitter recently, and I wrote a story about it, basically saying he's not entertaining any teams that are going to recruit him late in the recruitment cycle. Basically, guys who have not really talked to him up until this point, who want to reach out and make that late push to possibly add him to their team on next season. He's not entertaining any of those guys. But something interesting to pay attention to is the fact that he is expected to take an official visit to Arkansas on this weekend. And I don't think Arkansas would beat out Alabama for his commitment if Alabama really wants to just get his signature and lock it in. I think Alabama is in a good position to keep Javon Baker as well. I think he really wants to be a part of the Alabama culture, but it is some questions surrounding his recruitment at this point, especially with him taking an unofficial visit to Arkansas this weekend. Damieon George, the 3-star offensive lineman out of North Shore High School in Texas, is also verbally committed to Alabama. When I talked to him at the Under Armour All-America game in Orlando, Florida, he did express to me that his commitment to Alabama, he's comfortable with his commitment to Alabama, but he is looking at other schools. He said if another school did reach out to him, he will give them some attention and basically talk to their coaches. He has not shut down his recruitment, but he also expressed that he really wanted to talk to Alabama heading into the month of February. He wants to come to Alabama. He's always expressed that they always recruited him separately from his teammate and 5-star running back Zachary Evans. They really focus on him, and he really wants to be a part of the Alabama team. I think it's another thing that's going to come down to Alabama staff really wanting him to be at Alabama. So he is keeping his options open as well. I think he's looking at other schools and seeing if they want him. He's going to explore other options if Alabama back off. I think it's Alabama's commitment to lose if they do not want Damieon George, but I think George really wants to come to Alabama and he's comfortable with his commitment. You guys can check out my article when I got a chance to catch up with George at the Under Armour All-America game in Orlando, Florida on touchdownalabama.com. The link will be in the description of this video as well. That will do it for this edition of The Process. Thank you guys so much for joining me on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. Be sure to subscribe to Touchdown Alabama on YouTube. Download the Touchdown Alabama app. It is located in the Google Play Store as well as the Apple App Store. So be sure to download the Touchdown Alabama app on your mobile devices. Also, pick up a subscription to touchdownalabama.com. We are gearing up to release our yearly and annual print issue, To a Tongue of Our Lord Does Grace, the cover of this year's issue. So be sure to subscribe to touchdownalabama.com so you can get your hands on that magazine when it comes out. As always, I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine.
Process.